Hello everyone, this is Pooja Singh and we're back with another session at Vajiram and Ravi. What we are going to discuss today, that what are the major areas you should focus right now because the time is very less. This is the most crucial time before prelims 2024 and you cannot waste your time. You have to sieve the best out at this moment. So we are here with the most essential thing at this moment, the PYQ analysis based on themes. Not taking much of your time, I would like to call our expert mentor Richa in the frame who will make sure that you are confident enough to attend this prelims 2024. So here we go.
So thank you, Pooja. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last leg of prelims preparation. I know you're on your toes and you are working very hard, extremely hard, putting a lot of efforts in order to ensure, that you get to write the mains anyhow this year. And we also understand, we appreciate this fact, we also acknowledge this fact, and also acknowledge another fact that you must be going through a lot of anxieties building because of the fact that there's a lot to cover, because of the fact that the syllabus is vast, it's rather vague. So how to dive around this problem? So in this session, we will take care of this particular problem statement. So first of all, let me begin with asking a question. How many days are left for the prelims examination? How many days are left? So nearly 40 days, and to be exact, 38 days left are left for the prelims examination, which means that we are right now diving into a very crucial phase of our preparation. And your abilities to prioritize, to revise and execute what you have already read so far will finally ensure whether you will be getting to write the mains or not, whether you will be clearing the mains or not. And we are here to help you with that. So welcome everyone. My name is Richa Sharma and we will be taking up this topic where we are going to understand some of the very important themes which you must know before sitting in the prelims examination. Now, why are we taking up these themes? Because there is a rationale for it. The rationale is, first of all, we have got a paucity of time. We all know only roughly 38 days, about 40 days are left with us. The paucity of time is there, but the second devil is the vagueness of the syllabus. As you can see, the syllabus published by UPSC examiner. So obviously, it is not very suggestive. It is not very defined. It also makes me think as if I have to read everything under the sun. But is it really possible for me to read everything under the sun? Is it possible for me to recall everything, to revise everything in this much amount of time? Absolutely not. So thankfully, we have got something which we know as Pareto's principle. Pareto's principle basically provides us prioritization principles. It suggests to us that only 20% of the total efforts that you make in the right direction will eventually give you 80% of the final results. And this is valid for almost all the examinations in different sectors and as well as in the prelims examination. So we are going to underline this entire structure around this Pareto's principle. We'll be trying to pick those 20% of the topics of the syllabus, which is going to give you a yield, a return of 80% in the final examination. And I personally want you to focus on them, prioritize them, revise them, and finally execute them with confidence. All right. So talking about something which we have created. This is the high yield syllabus. This is more refined version of the syllabus that is brought up by UPSC. In the high yield syllabus, you will get to understand three things. First of all, this will be able to provide you a better output to input ratio. So we understand that an average aspirant must be devolving around 8 to 10 hours of study time. In those 8 hours, 2 hours must be given for the mock test solutions. And the next 6 hours must be devolved into something which is very important, which is very crucial, which is going to give me some better yield, some better results. So in order to improve the efficiency of your study routine, we have curated this high yield syllabus. That is the first thing. Second thing, if I am reading the right thing, If I'm trying to map it better with the PYQs, then finally I will become a more confident aspirant. So when I sit in the exam, my attitude will be better, and therefore I will be able to encounter those questions which are seemingly tough because I know that I have covered things which are certain for the exam. So these areas of the syllabus will provide you certainty. This will definitely beat the anxiety that people get because of the enlarging uncertainty around prelims exam, especially seen in 2023. But the exam is not like that. But believe me, if you follow these topics, with the right amount of reading, revision, and practicing, you will enter into the 80% club. 80% club of the aspirants who are entering into the high chances of clearing prelims. Okay? Now, let's cut to the chase and begin with which topic to finish, which topic to start first, first of all, which subjects to prioritize. So upon analyzing the PYQs worth 10 years, we are putting the statistics in front of you. So can you see? It's polity, it's economy, it's history. In our mentoring sessions, we have time and again repeated the importance of covering these three subjects. From static point of view, see, the lowest hanging fruit for any aspirant would be to catch the static material, because current is extremely dynamic. There is no concurrent source, there's no proper source, there's no particular reliable source. But for conceptual clarity, there are certain standard sources. We all know about them. So focus on the static, and therefore focus more on economy, polity, and history. These should be covered on priority basis, because as you can see from the stats, they fetch more than 140. They have fetched more than 140 questions across 10 years. So their average is better. Then we will talk about environment and science and tech. Now, environment and science and tech, though they have a lot of share in the total number of questions, but as you can see, they're again very dynamic. They're heavily current oriented. So in this leg of preparation, I would recommend that dwell less into the general or the static aspect of environment and science and tech, rather prioritize the current part more. All right. Next, we are going to talk about geography. So, of course, it is also having a very good weightage. Geography, if you have not finished till now, I would request you to emergently take up the mapping sessions of geography, mapping for Indian geography, mapping for world geography across different domains. We should be reading about the geomorphological features, like there's mountains, there's hills, there's lakes, glaciers, etc., rivers, etc., which, by the way, we'll be dealing. So I hope you've understood the priority. First of all, start with polity, economy, history, secure your static and conceptual part in them, then delve into the current affairs of environment and science and tech, then take up the mapping part of geography. This is something that you should be focusing in this last leg of prep. So I hope we are good to go. Now, we will move with the first topic and we will dissect the important themes. This is polity, extremely crucial. Just look down the statistics, amount of questions of polity that are being asked. It's averaging to 14 questions per year. So therefore, a very crucial topic. But again, following the Pareto's principle, we have chalked out 20% part of the syllabus, which is going to give you 80% of the yield. What are they? First of all, is the historical background. Why? Because it has got convergence with two subjects. One is modern history, second is polity, and it has been seen that a lot of Charter Acts, Council Act, Government of India Act, they have been frequently asked in the historical background. So do not forget to prepare them. Okay, the best way would be to take notes of it so that you understand the provisions and chronology. Next one is preamble. This is a very small chotu sa chapter, but at the same time gives you maximum results. So we will be having a look in the upcoming slide how it gives us maximum yield, but ensure that you are not forgetting prelims. Preamble. Next is the salient features of Indian Constitution. How are Indian polities made? How is it comparative with other polities? That is also another very important aspect. A lot of time it has been asked. Next is amendment to the Constitution. If you remember a question of 2023, amendment, the first constitutional amendment was one of the questions. Seemingly difficult question, but not difficult for you if you have prepared this theme. Okay, won't take much time, so just prepare amendment of the Constitution. Second is the fundamental right, fundamental duty, DPSPs. Now, these are the core pillars. They get asked every time, and the conceptual clarity on them is the need of the hour. So what you will be doing, fundamental right, DPSPs, and fundamental duties should be read thoroughly. Okay, next is Parliament. Now, when we talk about the Parliament chapter, it is a very exhaustive chapter, a lengthy chapter. You can give a day or so for preparing the Parliament chapter, but prepare it in a way that you are comparing things between president and governor. You are comparing Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. How are they both equal to each other? How their powers are unequal to each other? So that we are going to cover in Parliament, but it should be analyzed in a comparative fashion. Okay. Next is reading about the Indian judiciary. Many questions have been asked. How are the judges appointed? How are they removed? Whether it is given in the constitution or not? Is there any change, any amendment made to their structure or not? So all of this can be asked. And a lot of judiciary cases have been out this year. So be mindful of the cases as well and their verdict. Next is the 5th and 6th schedule of the constitution. This has been a news of late. Why? Why? Because of Ladakh dispute. Because of a lot of disputes taken up by states where they are demanding for the 6th schedule status, for the 5th schedule status. So please read about what is the difference between the 5th and the 6th schedule. Who is more powerful authority where? Whether it is the president or whether it is a governor. That's your duty, but have a comparative analysis. And last but not the least, it's a Panchayati Raj. It's a very simple chapter, but you need to read. You need not to write down the articles as such, but read about the powers and the functions of the Panchayati Raj. How many functions are there? What is the role of state government over there? What is the role of central government over there? And how did it get the constitutional status? What are the commissions associated with it? All of this you cover in the Panchayati Raj and you're good to go with Polity. Okay? Now, picking up some questions for you. We were talking about preamble and how high yielding this topic is. So just have a look across it. 1997, 2017 and 2020. There were 7 more questions on preamble, but the slide could not contain it. So I've not included, but anyway, just have a look. This one is giving the entire text of preamble and asking you that which date was proclaimed as the declared date for preamble. So this was, the answer is 26th day of November 1949, which means it's a very small text of preamble, but rote learn it. Okay, the next thing, if you have rote learned this, if you have learned from this PYQ, you will be able to solve this one also. The mind of the makers of the constitution is reflected in which of the following? The mind, the soul, the philosophy with which the constitution has been made was entailed in the preamble. Okay, so we can solve this question. Which of the following objective is not embodied in the preamble of the constitution? As I've told you, just learn the text of preamble, which will make you answer that liberty of thought, economic liberty, liberty of expression, liberty of belief. According to the text, our preamble says that we, the people of India, have got liberty of thoughts, beliefs, worship, and expression, not political and economic liberty. So this one stand incorrect. All right. Now, again, another question to preamble. Preamble is a part of the constitution or not? It is a very important thing to be read. According to Keswananda Bharti case 1973, it was deemed to be just another part of the constitution. It's an integral part of the constitution, but it is not enforceable in the court of law. Which other parts of the constitution are not enforceable? It is the DPSP, it is the fundamental duties. They are also not enforceable. So I hope we are clear that if we prepare just a small topic like preamble, just learn the basic text of preamble, we'll be able to solve all these questions. Okay, so we've already reviewed 4 questions for you. Now, the next topic is some of the key terms that nowadays UPSC is using. For example, what do you mean by due process of law, or what is rule of law? Another one is what do you mean by a constitutional government? This particular keyword has not been mentioned anywhere in your standard book, but in your NCRT, 11th standard NCRT, Constitution at Work, in which they have defined what is constitutional government, and UPSC took it so seriously, it has used and created this question about 5 to 6 times. What is constitutional government? Constitutional government is any such government which is bound within some frameworks of law, some boundaries of the law. And who is making this law, or where is this due process of law created? This is created by the Constitution. So, a government which is bound by a written constitution is a limited government. So, you take it from here that a constitutional government is that which is a limited government. Fine. Second keyword that I'm dropping is what is parliamentary democracy. Again, many times UPSC has asked us, what is parliamentary democracy? You might have a lot of interpretations of it, but to make it clear, every time UPSC has rendered only one answer right, which is whenever the Council of Ministers is directly responsible to the Lok Sabha. Please mind, it's not parliament to the Lok Sabha, then that is considered as a situation of parliamentary democracy. Okay, so these keywords we have to remember as well. Where can we pick it from? We can pick it either from the Indian Constitution at Work. That's a very good book to understand all these keywords. The other source is obviously your PYQ. Just have a review and see what UPSC renders as the right answer. Okay, now coming to next part, which is the parliament extremely important, especially the motions of parliament, the committees of parliament, appointment of different presiding officers like speakers, vice president, chairpersons, etc. Very important topic. And along with this, money bills are important topic, and as I've already told you, you should have a comparative analytical between the federal structure, that is how Lok Sabha is behaving with respect to Rajya Sabha. Are they equals? In which domains are they equal? In which domains are they not equal? So all of these things will make you answer such questions. Okay, so in the first one, let's say Council of Minister in the center should be collectively responsible to Parliament. Now I have already reviewed the PYQs and I've seen the very fact we are having parliamentary democracy is that it is responsible to Lok Sabha and not Parliament. So this one stands incorrect. The moment I will declare the first statement incorrect, I will eliminate A, C and D. So I will get the right answer. I will get my right answer, which is B. Clear on that? Similarly, we can solve other questions. Rajya Sabha has equal powers with Lok Sabha in which of the following matters? So first of all, the matter of creating new All India services. Well, this is exactly right answer. According to Article 312 of the Indian Constitution, Rajya Sabha is the one which can initiate a proposal to create an All India service. Okay, so somewhere Rajya Sabha is better off in this particular case with respect to Lok Sabha, but not in the other three cases. Okay, so in which it has got equal powers. So the equal power is amending of the constitution. Why? Because in the first one, Rajya Sabha has got more powers as compared to Lok Sabha. This is not equal power. In the second one, it has got equal powers as compared to it. Then the removal of the government. So removal of the government can also be made via a non-confidence motion, a no-confidence motion, right? So who has got the power to initiate it? Who has got the power to initiate the non-confidence motion, no confidence motion against the government? It is the Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha wins in this case. Again, unequal. Okay. Then making of the cut motions. So cut motion is essentially a part of budgetary process. And who dominates the budgetary process in India? It is the Lok Sabha. So again, unequal. Okay. Now, similarly, we can solve other questions. If I have read about the no confidence motion over here, if I have done the PYQ analysis, what you call, I will be able to answer this question as well. It has been written, there is no mention of no confidence motion in Constitution. Now, wherever statements like there is no mention or a statement comes that Constitution has not defined something, all of these statements are generally right. Okay. So first statement is definitely right, and the second, no confidence motion can be introduced in the Lok Sabha only. So this statement is also right. Okay, so here both the statements are correct. Now, next one is about the money bill. Now, I have put up this question to highlight the fact that though Constitution doesn't define a lot of things, it does define money bill very particularly. In fact, it also uses the word only to specifically highlight the provisions of the money bill. So which includes, bill shall be deemed to be a money bill if it contains provisions only. So only is not a red flag over here. You don't need to eliminate this because this is written in the standard book. Even in your Lakshmikant it is written. So here you can read that only provisions relating to imposition, abolition, remission, etc. of the taxes, all of them can be a part of money bill. Absolutely right. Now, the red flag over here was the third statement, which basically tells me money bill is concerned with appropriation of monies out of contingency fund of India. It is true that it maintains the contingency fund of India via money bill, but to take money out of the contingency fund, obviously contingency is something which is very emergent. Some emergent situation has happened. So in that case, we don't have time for the entire money bill and the legislative process to follow. So it is done by, the expenditure is made by executive action. Okay. So this statement is incorrect. So you have to prepare for money bill because a lot of questions on money bill, finance bill, all of them have been repeatedly asked. Okay. Now, now we will move on to geography. Geography is a very important theme. A lot of questions on geography is getting asked. Why? Because it has got overlap with environment as well. Now, let's look into the geography topics. First of all, cover the places in news. When I'm saying places in news, you don't have to cover everything where everybody went. Basically, cover those places in news which were heavily driven by conflict. Okay, so let's say Israel, Palestine, the Gaza region is important. The Red Sea is important because of Red Sea militancy. Somalia region is important because of pirates. So such conflict-ridden places should be read on priority, both for the world and both for India. Okay, that's the first thing. Second is to cover river and lake. I've already told you, you should be covering geomorphological features, but put more emphasis on rivers and lakes because upon analyzing PYQ, maximum questions were asked on rivers and lakes of world and India. And this is not a very big task. You can do it very easily. So we will focus on rivers and lakes. Okay. Then you also have to learn about the bordering nations. So in a question, it was asked that what are the bordering nations of Afghanistan? What are bordering nations of Syria? Syria is in news. What is the bordering nation of Ukraine? Ukraine was in news. It was asked. What is the bordering nation of any sea? Let's say Black Sea or let's say Caspian Sea. What are the bordering nations? So read them. They are very important. They have been asked. Next is read about the hills and the peaks, but more importantly for India. Okay, so in 2023, we had questions about the Satpura Hills, the Sahyadri Range, the Vindhya Range, and there were two other hills as well. So basically reading about the hills and their peaks will help you eliminate a lot of things on the basis of knowledge. You wouldn't require elimination over here. Okay, again, all of these are very low hanging fruits. Just download their maps and you're good to go. Fine. Okay. Then please read about the types of forest. Description of the forest will be given and you will be made to identify the forest, whether it is a deciduous forest, whether it is evergreen forest, or whether a particular tree belongs to a particular forest. Okay. So please remember types of forest. Please remember types of climate as well. Please remember agriculture. Agriculture has got coherence with not just environment, not just geography, but also environment. So therefore, you will see a lot of questions being asked on agriculture. On that, specifically focus which of the crops have been included in the minimum support program, in the MSP program. You also please remember that how many crops are important for India. For example, question on rice has been asked, tea has been asked, coffee has been asked. Okay. Then please remember agriculture schemes as well. Agriculture schemes are very important. Even if we are trying to prepare for government schemes, don't cover everything. Schemes on rural empowerment, women empowerment, health sector, agriculture sector should be prepared on a priority basis. Okay, then only go about other things. Then please read about the agricultural trend. What do I mean by that? How is the export trend? How is the import trend of various crops of India, specifically those which are in news? Okay. Now, we will look into some questions to find validity of our argument. So consider the following statement. In how many questions can you see rivers? And these are just few questions that I have picked up. And the rivers are also completely repeating themselves again and again. So just have a look. Jhelum River passes through Vular Lake. Jhelum is a famous river. In fact, you need to cover only basic rivers if you may ask that. Which drainage basins to be covered? The Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri. At least cover this much, right? So, Jhelum River, which is a part of Indus, okay, Indus tributary. So, Jhelum River passes through Vular Lake, absolutely correct. Krishna River directly feeds Koleru Lake. Now, obviously, you must have learned via your elimination classes that when we see directly word, it's a red flag because why would they put directly? It's very unnatural and it's very it's not required actually. It's unnecessary to put there. So Krishna River, we can eliminate it via logic also, but you should know that Koleru Lake. If Koleru Lake is somewhere over here, then Koleru Lake is here. Then this is the Krishna River. This is the Godavari River, and this is the Krishna River. We're not able to use the pen right now, so I hope you understand. So I hope you understand that. Let's say this is in the Andhra Pradesh. There is Koleru Lake. So Godavari will drain above it and Krishna will drain below it to the south of it. It's a tributary of Krishna which will finally drain the Koleru Lake, but it's not the Krishna River. Okay. Then meandering of the Gandak River formed Cover Lake. Now this was also controversial. Recently the final answer key has been revealed and they have considered this statement incorrect because it is not the Gandak River, it is the Buri Gandak River. Cover Lake is very important, the only Ramsar site of Bihar, and this is also known as the Kabartal Lake. This is the largest freshwater oxbow lake. Okay, what causes oxbow lakes, by the way? Which process of the rivers causes the creation of oxbow lake? Just write down in the comments. So here the answer was only one. Okay. Then a question came, which of the rivers creates the Grand Canyon, which is Gandikota Canyon, which is known as the Grand Canyon of India. So this was the Pennar River. Please remember, Pennar again is an independent river of South India. It flows below the Krishna River, and it directly, of course, it flows through your Karnataka and then Andhra Pradesh, but it is not a part of either of the rivers. It's not a tributary to any. Okay. Then Vamsadhara, Indravati, Pranhita, Pennar. So I have already eliminated that Pennar is not a tributary of anything. So I will eliminate B and C. Correct. Then I'm left with A and B. Now I have to see whether Vamsadhara is one or not. Again, Vamsadhara is not a tributary of Godavari. It's an independent river again flowing in the state of Odisha. So originates from Odisha, then drains towards Andhra Pradesh. So by PYQ analysis, I will be able to cut down to two options, and I can also tell that Vamsadhara is also not a tributary of Godavari. Same Vamsadhara has been mentioned in another PYQ. Okay, which of them are rising from the eastern Ghats? Now, question on Brahmaputra tributary has been asked. Barak, Lohit, Subansiri, and Barak river was in news that year. So Barak flows through Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram. So how will it flow through, join Brahmaputra in any way? So we will just eliminate the Barak, and this can be done with the help of current affairs. Okay, so that is why we are asking you to read the places in news. Extremely important. Then there's another one with respect to the Indus River. So which of the river directly joins the Indus River? It is a Satluj River. Please be clear on these facts. Just learn about the main drainage systems of India and you'll be good to go. But it's not just India, it's also the world rivers which you should take care of. A very simple question was asked in 2023. Which of the following is a part of Congo Basin? Now, which of the following is a part? To understand that, I should at least know the basic things, that Cameroon is somewhere here, Congo is somewhere here. It is more closer, and I know that Congo River kind of flows into the Atlantic Ocean. It doesn't flow in this direction. So all these states which are situated in this part, let's say Sudan, South Sudan, then there is Uganda, then there is what, Nigeria is over here. They are not a part of its basin. So therefore, if I understand the mapping, even the basic mapping, the arrangement of the states and how the river flows, I'll be able to solve this question. Okay, so they won't ask very difficult questions, but at least be clear on the major rivers of both India and world. Again, the major rivers, Mekong River. Does Mekong drain into Andaman Sea? No, it flows through Myanmar, Cambodia, Thailand. It finally drains into South China Sea. Okay, so this is incorrect. Then what about Thames? Thames enter into North Sea, again incorrect. Volga drains into Caspian, absolutely correct. Zambezi, Indian Ocean, absolutely correct. So these are very prominent rivers. If you have not read about them, probably we are ill prepared right now. So just catch up with the preparation, because although I understand the time is less, but the time is absolutely right to fine tune your preparation and to ensure that you are making significant changes, covering up these things, or these could become your loopholes. Okay. The next one is the places in conflict. Catalonia was in conflict because of protest in Spain, so this is correct. Crimea was in conflict because of Russian annexation from Ukraine. Then Mindanao on Philippines was in conflict. Then Oromia was also in conflict. So similarly, and as you can see, this option of Catalonia is also repeated over here. Okay. The Anatolia Plateau was in news because Turkey was in conflict. Okay. Amraha because Ethiopia was in conflict because of some civil wars. And the Cabo Delgado, I think this was not in space, this was in Mozambique of Africa. So therefore, we will be able to understand how to figure out what to read. Basically, just read about the areas which are ridden with conflict. So let's say Israel is in news, so please read about the Ben Gurion Canal, read about the Negev Desert, read about the bordering countries of Israel, read about the Red Seas, what are the countries bordering the Red Sea, what is known as Horn of Africa. Try to read them and try to pursue active recalling. Okay, connect the dots and it will help you more. Don't try to read a lot during this time, but just try to consolidate and interlink everything. Indulge into very, very active revision practice. Okay. One more very beautiful example. So, of course, Israel and Palestine has been an historic dispute. So, a question came, that the term Levant, often heard in news, is related to which of the following? So one way to eliminate it logically would be to find out two similar looking statements. A and B are similar looking statements, and in them, the entire coast of Mediterranean will definitely not be called as Levant. Okay, only a part of it will be called. That part is Eastern. When I think about the Eastern Mediterranean coast, do I find conflicted areas? Do I find conflicted areas or not? It has got Syria, it has got Lebanon, it's got Israel, which were in news. And they keep on asking questions which are in news only. So by that logic also, I can tell the answer is A. The answer is not B. This is incorrectly marked. Okay. Now, coming to the science and tech, extremely important but heavily current affair oriented. If you will ask me how to prepare for current affairs in science and tech, I would recommend take up a compilation. Take up a compilation of this year, and if your schedule allows you, then also of the past year, and then try to just have a glance across the emerging technologies. Only they will be asked. They wouldn't be asking you a lot of general science. They wouldn't be asking you a lot of in-depth knowledge about the emerging technology, but just a basic understanding of it. The exposure of it will help you eliminate the questions, and we will see how. Okay, so first of all, read about the emerging technologies. World Economic Forum also publishes various reports where it publishes top 10 emerging technology. That is one go-to source. The other source is, of course, your yearly compilation. Then please focus more on biotechnology, anything which is a technology inherent to the Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is artificial intelligence, anything related to data intelligence, anything related to cyber security, or anything related to, let's say, what is virtual reality, what is augmented reality, or there is Internet of Things. All of these questions have already been asked, and they have more probability of being asked. So let's say if you encounter anything new, let's say general artificial intelligence is in news, then what is that? You should be knowing it. Okay. Then focus on nanotechnology. Priority should be in this order. Read this first, then go for space tech. In the space tech, primarily focus on what India has been doing. How is Gaganyaan performing? How is it created? Then you can talk about Aditya L1. In Aditya L1, what is this L1 point, and which where are we going to deploy it, which space vehicle is going to carry it, which is a launching vehicle, etc. Then talk about the defense tech. Defense tech is also a very important part. A lot of missiles have been asked in the PYQ examination, so we will prepare that. Then we have got communication technology. So in communication technology, any kind of new technology will be asked, generally in comparison with a traditional or an old technology. So goes without saying, this new technology will be definitely costlier, but at the same time, it will be a better performer as compared to traditional one. So please be mindful of such statements and be very ready to eliminate them. Okay. Next is about the health. Anything. Let's say there was coronavirus, so questions on vaccines were asked, but specifically if anything has got a biotech solution, so such biotechnological solutions will be asked more. Genome sequencing is pretty much in news these days, so please read everything thoroughly about genome sequencing, what is short tandem repeat, what is DNA barcoding, all of that. Please take care of it. And this is readily available in your yearly compilation. Believe me, just read it very, very thoroughly, diligently, and revise it multiple number of times. Okay. Now, so we've talked about diseases. The vaccines, there are different kind of vaccines. Don't talk about the conventional vaccines. Search about the new vaccines. Okay, the RNA vaccines, they have been asked. Then initiatives related to health, I've already told you, when we'll be reading government initiatives, focus on 4 aspects: rural development, health, then there was the 2 others which we have already talked about, and then in the last, focus on general science. If you're done with all of them, then move to the basic concepts of general science. Okay. Now we will talk about some of the questions which will give us a validity whether we are in the right direction of choosing the themes or not. Okay. Wolbachia method, it was in use to eliminate mosquitoes. Then metagenomics, I've already told you, we are making strides toward progressing in our genome sequencing so that we can better understand the human race. A lot of initiatives are taking place here. So there is aerial metagenomics. Aerial metagenomics may, you might be confused between 2 options. Whether it is collecting the DNA sample from air in the habitat at one go, understanding the genetic makeup of avian species of the habitat. So in order to perform elimination, now here is where, if you don't know the knowledge, you have to eliminate. So aerial metagenomics says that it uses the word aerial and not avian. So it's not particularly about the avian biodiversity, which we are going to assess, or which we are going to create the genetic makeup of. It is about creating or collecting something from air. So the best suited one is A. Definitely, logics would work, elimination would work over here, but this is again a low-hanging fruit because it was mentioned in a lot of current affair articles. Okay. The next is this microsatellite DNA. Even if you don't know about microsatellite DNA, I have told you a very important theme is genome sequencing, and they keep on developing technologies in this genome sequencing sector. So the answer would be, try to find out the answer. Studying evolutionary relationship among variant species of fauna. Microsatellite is nothing but the short tandem repeats, which means the segment of DNA which keeps repeating themselves over and over again. And with the help of this, we get to understand the hereditary relationship between our ancestors and us. Okay, so the answer is microsatellite DNA. Even if you don't know the exact thing, please go with the suitable option, which is suiting the theme that we have revealed. Okay, now then there's non-fungible token. It was very much in news. DNA barcoding again in news. Qubit is the main, it's the smallest bit of quantum computing. Everybody knows this. Okay. Then taking you to two questions, and in which showcased again the relevance of PYQ analysis. Now, have I attempted this question 2020 in the context of recent advances in human reproductive technology? What is pro-nuclear transfer? So I probably don't know about the pro-nuclear transfer. I don't know the answer of it, but upon doing the PYQ analysis, because I'm sitting for the next year exam, so I will understand that, okay, it is related to something related to mitochondrial diseases. Now, in the very next year, they ask the same question again on the same theme, which means the themes are undiverging. You have to have your faith in the themes. Not so much on the elimination technique, not so much on the logical techniques, because logic gets developed over the time with revisions. Okay, so you have to perform a lot of revision. That is very, very important. Revisions of the themes and revisions of the PYQs are very important. Similar magic has been seen over here. 2017 question on ELISA, and 2020 again question. The answer is ELISA, right? So please revise PYQs thoroughly. Next is again another dynamic current affair driven topic, which is economy, but don't follow up or don't too much run after the current affair part of it, because that is a very high hanging fruit. We'll be focusing more on the conceptual clarity, more on the static concepts of it, and at the best we'll be learning some of the trends which are published in the newspapers. So the first topic is inflation, second is money and banking, then how our external sector is performing, how is our balance of payment, what are the trade trends across multiple commodities, like for example oil, for example oil seeds, for example some agricultural crops. Then how is our market performing, the money market and the capital market, what are the instruments, how do they work. Then what are the financial institutions, extremely important, World Bank, IMF, NDB, AIIB, extremely important. In fact, questions on all of them have been asked in PYQ. So please prepare financial institutions, reports prepared by them, how are they created, how much share their holders have on them. And last but not the least, we have also got WTO. So WTO provides a lot of subsidies. There's a lot of agreements. India is in conflict with many of them. So therefore, please see what is WTO, what are the reports published by it, what are the policies formulated by it, what is amber box, green box, blue box, subsidy, etc. Then read about agriculture. Agriculture is a very crucial investment that you will be making right now. Agriculture is something most of us don't read, but agriculture is something which will be definitely asked in the examination. So please prepare for agriculture on the same lines. How is our agriculture basket performing in the terms of import and export trend? How are they performing in MSP, etc.? All right. And then also read about some terms and news. For example, last year, beta stocks was asked. And some similar fancy economic terms can be asked. What is thalinomics, etc.? All of these can be asked, okay? So prepare such terms, such fancy terms as well. Now let's have a look into the PYQ. So we were talking about the fact that the monetary policy, the money and banking chapter is very important. You can see a lot of questions repeatedly asked on statutory liquidity ratio. They're not even diverging the statement. It is continuously saying In this question, statutory reserve ratio, then there is statutory liquidity ratio, then in this one there is statutory liquidity ratio or something regarding to monetary policy. Okay, SLR is a part of the same. And then again, statutory liquidity ratio, what is marginal standing facility ratio. So once I have prepared my monetary policy well, okay, I'm good to go with all these questions, right? Next one. Next one, we were talking about the relevance of financial institutions. Just see, have a look into this and see how many times have they made IMF the main theme of the question. Every time the answer was IMF. Okay, so which highlights the fact that IMF is a very important theme. All right, next. Then we were talking about agriculture. So they have talked about the minimum support price. How many of them get minimum support price? Have I not already told you the same? Should be reading MSP, right? Then they have talked about, they asked the question on the Niger seeds, I think in the last session, in the yesterday's webinar, they have covered how to deal with this question. Then again, question on MSP, again question on MSP, then question on Kharif crops, right? And what is the trend, area under cultivation, area of cultivation of the important crops, which is the oil seed, the rice, the sugar cane, only they are getting asked, right? So again, these are again low fetching, high yielding fruits which you must grab before sitting in the examination. Okay, now coming to history. History can be a havoc for many, but I can tell you something, that history can be fairly divided and rationally invested into. We have got ancient and medieval, which should be studied together with art and culture. There is no difference as such, and we shouldn't be preparing them in silos. So when we count art and culture, we also count ancient and medieval, and then you keep modern history separate. So for a day or two, you completely revise the modern history themes, which will be asked. Actually, a lot of modern history questions are asked. It was not asked in 2023, but that's an anomaly. Let's not fall for the anomaly. Let's follow for the rule of law, which is they will be asking modern history. So anyway, first of all, we focus on the three segments: ancient, medieval, art and culture. In that, site mapping, just like geography, very, very important. Site mapping of Harappan age, Sangam age, Buddhism, Jainism, Ashoka sites, inscription site, temple sites. Where to find all of it? Just refer to your old NCRTs, new NCRT, collect the maps and rote learn them. In fact, a question seemingly very difficult, the Dhanya Katak question in 2023, it was explicitly mentioned in the new NCRT map. Okay, so prepare the maps from both the NCRTs and you will be able to manage most of the questions of the sites. Okay, next one is the dynasties. So please read about the major dynasties first. I am not asking you to not read the other dynasties. Yes, they also sometimes ask about the Mokhari dynasty or the Kadamba dynasty. I'm not asking you to not read them, but read these first because these are important ones. And in them also read about the most significant ruler of that time. So let's say I'm reading about Mauryan, I'm reading about Gupta, I'm reading about Satvahanas, then I should be reading about Gautami Putra Satkarni, I should be reading about Ashoka, I should be reading about Chandragupta too. At least do the minimal basic work. This is extremely important. Next is to figure out the literatures and the architectures. Literature is something which has seen the most highest amount of frequently asked questions. Okay, literature is something when you invest in it, you probably would be creating just a list of 20 to 30 literatures, and there are high chances that you will be able to crack the questions on them. So it's a very good investment. Next is the architecture. Architecture, especially the cave architecture, especially the temple architecture. Most of the questions on architecture are either on caves, either on temple. So even if you are struggling how many architecture to study, focus mostly on both of them. Then read about the Indian School of Philosophy. This is in coherence with art and culture. We've got 6 Indian schools of philosophy. You read all about them. You read about the Sankhya one, the Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, Purv Mimamsa, the Vaisheshika, the Charvak philosophy, which entails Buddhism, Jainism. Also read the subsects, the sub-schools of the Buddhism and the Jainism. Extremely important. Okay. Now, when we are preparing this, just be mindful. Even if you want to take notes, you can, but just be mindful of the chronology. Who is coming before? What is happening during which century? Just roughly remember the century in your head. This will help you solve a lot of chronological questions. So coming to the relevance of sites, Burza Home, Jammu and Kashmir, Chandraketu Ghar, Ganeshwar has been asked. All of these are Harappan sites. Then, which of the following is famous for series of dam and channelizing water, etc.? This is Dholavira. Why Dholavira? Because Dholavira is in run of Kutch. It is devoid of water, often led by droughts. Therefore, it is the answer is Dholavira. Okay, also because it was in news. Second is Dhanya Katak. Dhanya Katak is in Andhra Pradesh. Where to find these sites? I have already told you the source. I am repeating it again. Collect the maps of old NCRT and new NCRTs, create a compilation and learn them. Don't go beyond them, because if you will go beyond them, it will take a lot of time, and that's not a very good investment in this point of time. Okay. Next one, Buddhism, Jainism. What are their beliefs? What are their sub-schools? Extremely important. Gone are those days when they'll just be asking who was the mother of Buddha and how many bodhisattvas are there. And I mean, gone are those days. Let's be clear on that. They're asking more detailed question because they understood that we have somewhat understood that Buddhism and Jainism are very important themes, so everybody is prepared for it. So let's prepare a little bit more. Let's prepare on their sub-schools, on their subsects. Okay, you should be able to answer where are Mahasangikas, what are Tharvadins, what are Lokuttarvadins, what are the different forms of Buddhas, what are the different names of bodhisattvas. So read about that as well. Okay, and with the help of this, you will be able to answer such questions. Now, another thing is understand the chronology of the kingdom. Chronology of the kingdom is important because a lot of questions have come like this. The Guptas of Magad, the Parmars of Malwa, the Pushyabhuti, Mokhari, Yadav, Matrikas, these are very lesser heard of. In fact, all of them can be seen in only post-Gupta map. There's only one map. If had you paid attention to it, you would have answered this question, but this is one of the toughest questions. The idea over here, which I want to impart, is please read things chronologically. At least have a mind to it. Who came first and who came afterwards, okay? Next is read about the prominent kings. I've already told you Maurya dynasty is an important dynasty and Ashoka is a prominent king. And Ashoka is favorite of UPSC. UPSC loves Ashoka. So therefore, as you can see, who of the following had first deciphered the edicts of Emperor Ashoka? James Princip, written in your NCRT. Second one, Rani Ashoka in some of the edict, which is in Kanganahalli, Karnataka. Then, who among the following gave all of these things, which is basically Ashoka, because I know that Ashoka is a favorite theme. So even if I don't know the answer, I will mark that option which tells me the theme which is most often asked in UPSC. The other important theme is Vijayanagar. Okay, I'm just telling you, not showcasing the questions over here. Now, second thing is terminology. I've already told you, terminologies will be of two kinds: administrative terminologies and military terminologies. Okay, military administration and the revenue administration. Terminologies on those have been asked. There are multiple sources to it, but I would recommend to go for the Upinder Singh glossary for it. That will help you a lot. So you can go for these questions: Kulya Vap, Drone Vap, then these administrative hierarchies. This is written in new NCRT as it is. Okay. Then this one, what are Vishtis? What is Vishti forced labor? So of course you can eliminate it as well. You don't need to have proper knowledge on this, because Vishti would be something in which they are not getting paid properly. So with the help of this and with the help of eliminating extreme statements, you'll be able to eliminate B, totally absent, incorrect. Forced labor entitled to weekly wages. Weekly wages means, then why will it be called forced labor? Makes sense. So second, incorrect. Then eldest son of the laborer was sent to the forced laborer. Now, I mean, the eldest son, this is very funny because eldest son generally they become the king or something, and then on the same lines they have created this statement that eldest son of the laborer was sent as the forced laborer. So there might be a lot of anomaly here. There is no such there's no such hierarchy followed. So on the basis of that logic, we can eliminate it. But anyway, I have told you the go-to source through which you can revise all these terminologies in one place. Okay. The next one is literature. Focusing on literature is extremely important. And don't try to read every literature. There is only 20 to 30 literature, especially of ancient and medieval era, and that too written by very famous literators of their times. Okay, so don't learn only them. Don't focus on too many things. The other things will be taken care of by elimination. How? Let's see. So Parini is associated with Pushyamitra. Parini was a Sanskrit literator, and he was somewhere during the age of Mahajanpads. Okay, after Mahajanpads came Mauryas. After Mauryas defeating them came Shunga dynasty. They are centuries apart. They are not contemporary. Okay, Amar Simha is associated with Harshavardhan. If you know about the jewels of Chandragupta, Amar Simha and Kalidas are the jewels of Chandragupta only. Chandragupta too. So second statement is incorrect. So correct answer is third. Kalidas is associated with Chandragupta. Kalidas is a very important literature, has been asked by UPSC many times. Okay. His book Malvika Agnimitram has been asked. Okay, elaboration has been given, and this is asked again. Shunga dynasty, same Shunga dynasty. Pushyamitra Shung. Can you see the relation? So they kind of repeat the PYQ themes, PYQ statements again. Okay, then they have asked about with reference to all of this 2021 question. Seemingly difficult, but Bhavbhuti is very famous for writing what? What has Bhavbhuti written? Which work has been created by Bhavbhuti? I'm waiting for the comments. Just let me know. Okay. Then Kalyan Mandap. Kalyan Mandap is a notable feature of what? Now, even if I don't know about anything, I have already told you Vijayanagar is a favorite theme of UPSC. Answer is Vijayanagar. Correct? Now we'll talk about medieval India. Medieval India mein the dynasties were very aristocratic and they were pretty organized as well many times, especially in the terms of administration. So knowing about their administration would fetch you a big pie of the cake. Okay, administrative terms very important. Delhi Sultanate, Mughal Empire extremely important. Within them, read about the art, the culture, the literature that they devoured. Read about their achievements, read about the reforms, the Mansabdari system, etc., the Dehsara system, etc. Then read about the architecture, read about the paintings. Then we get to know about all of them via some of the chronicles. These chronicles have prominently, and this was actually the age where a lot of chronicles were created by foreign travelers. Okay, Ibn Battuta, Al-Baruni, etc. So read about them. They were contemporary to whom and what have they written, right? Next, please read about Bhakti and Sufi movements. Understand the chronology. They are contemporary to whom, what is the region of influence, what is the basic belief, the basic tenets of Bhakti and Sufi, read that. And then coming to art and culture, if you are struggling with it, ideally, you should be reading a lot of topics of art and culture, but if you're struggling with it, just make sure you're covering architecture. And in architecture, you are covering IVC sites, you are covering the Ashokan edicts, you are covering caves, you are covering temples. Okay? Then you should also be covering paintings, and which was the zenith era of painting. So you have to cover the Mughal paintings more precisely, and also the local paintings of India. Then literature. Literature is again very important. We have already covered, this is an ancient one, but I've already told you. There are convergences between ancient, medieval, and art and culture, but please take care of these things. Other than that, there is of course puppetry, there is of course some folk music, folk dances, classical music, classical dances, many other things. But probably that won't be possible for you to read right now. If you're struggling with art and culture, go with them, you're sorted. Okay, now why I'm saying this? Chaucer Yogini temple was asked. Now, this is a temple which, if you have not been acquainted with the current affair, you will struggle with it, because the parliament building, when it was getting renovated, the new parliament building was getting created, Central Vista. So that's when it was in use. The Chaucer Yogini temple, which is situated in Morena district of Madhya Pradesh. This actually, the idea or the structure of Chaucer Yogini was incorporated into the building of parliament. That is why it was in use, and that is why it was our responsibility to read this temple. I have told you, in architecture, temples have a very important place. So they hold a very important place, so you should be reading about them. Okay. Now they have talked about Panchayatan. This is written in the Art and Culture NCRT. So Panchayatan, this is also written in the standard books of art and culture. So it's very normal even if you have not read the NCRT. So again, it refers to temple construction. Okay. Then again, a lot of places, Kalsi, Jogada is basically in Odisha, it's not in Madhya Pradesh. Iragudi is in Andhra Pradesh, Kalsi is in Karnataka. So basically, only two pairs are correct. But what are we reading here? What are you reading over here? You are trying to read the edicts of Ashoka, correct? So which is the main theme. So don't miss out on that. Then, important architecture site, Ajanta. So if we are reading about Ajanta, let's also explore in which hills do they lie. So it's pretty simple. It's Ajanta Hills only. Then which river passes through it? This is the Baghora River. Okay. Now, talking about modern India, the themes are very, very specific. Don't try to lurk upon the fringe themes a lot. That might waste time as well. But you will be reading them in the second iteration. So what I have, basically what I would suggest from my side is, you separate or you create these demarcations in your reading style. You do the entire reading in two iterations. In the first iteration, focus on these topics, try to cover them, try to do the PYQs of them, and gain like good enough confidence, because any good aspirant has already covered this. Okay, so you should be able to at least cross that cutoff. So cover these topics, take a screenshot of it. So cover these topics for modern India, cover these topics that I have already told you. Then in the second iteration, if you get the time, then you read about the miscellaneous topics. Okay, not before that. I'll just narrate it for you. Civil, tribal uprisings, extremely important. All the national movement, be it the Bengal movement, the Swadeshi movement, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, Quit India movement, all of them are important. Revolutionary movements are also very important. British Acts, again important, which is similar to that of Polity, constitutional reforms, we've already covered. Then 1940 onwards, once the India will become ruthless towards achieving independence and all the developments that are made. When is the Lindbergh statement coming, August offer coming, Cripps mission coming, all of this is important. The chronology is important. What arguments are being made is important. So you will read from 1940 onwards. Read about the revolutionary groups, read about the important personalities. Important personalities are very important. Just try to cover 20 to 30 important personalities of India, their works, what have they written, what were their basic movements, what were their origin, what were their thought processes. Read about that with more focus on Gandhiji, because UPSC again loves Gandhiji. Okay, now we will talk about environment, again having dynamic aspect, and in here also I would recommend that dwell into some of the static aspect but focus more on current affair revision. All right, so in the first one, read about the international convention. So we have a lot of them. We have got United Nations framework for climate change, then we have got convention for diversity, for your biodiversity, UNCBD. Then we have got for desertification, we have got for waste management, we've got Stockholm Rotterdam Convention, we've got Basel Convention. So read about the international convention. Please note down whether India is a party to it or not. Okay, then read about the national legislations. What gives a statutory backing to the wetlands of India? Okay, what gives statutory backing to NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority? Read about the Environmental Protection Act in detail. Read about the Water Act. Read about the Forest Rights Act of 2006. Okay, so please read about the national legislations. The more you invest into them, the more in depth you will read about them, the more they will give you results. Testimony is the PYQ. Read PYQs on them and you will understand what I'm saying. Next is species and news. This is not something that you should be dwelling a lot on, but just understand the basic species which have been in news prominently. Let's say elephants have been in news this year, cheetahs have been in news this year, Asiatic lions were in news when the canine distemper virus killed them. Then there was Gangetic dolphin was in news. So whenever a prominent species was in news, be assured UPSC has asked question on it. Okay. The next one is protected areas. Cover wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, tiger reserves, and the national parks, the Ramsar sites, especially those under the Monterey Act record. Cover the protected areas. I would highly recommend to go for a mapping kind of video for this. Okay, so cover protected areas. Next is climate change related terms. A lot of terms are being asked just like economy. So for example, they have asked what is Anthropocene age. They have asked about they can also ask about terms like what is carbon farming, what is greenwashing. They have asked about ocean mean temperature. So these are climate related terms where you will be able to get it in the current affair magazines, right? So go for them. Then energy sector and their initiative is extremely important. We are trying to transition towards a lower carbon footprint economy. So these initiatives, all of this becomes very, very important, right? So if you have been reading these topics, if you have already been If you already have covered 40 to 50% of this topic, congratulations, because I believe you are on the right path. So try to practice your mock tests more, try to indulge more into their revision, but at the same time, ensure that you are fully confident before the examination, and that can only happen once you revise them enough number of times. For the first timers, I would recommend go for PYQ analysis more as compared to solving mock test. And so this brings me to the end of the session. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Please let me know if you have any doubt. I'm all ears, just in case you want anything, or you want to listen on something. Okay, so I believe that there's not a lot of doubt over here. So PPT, Soumya, we wouldn't be able to provide that. Do we have your session on British accent mentoring session? We will try to arrange it. We'll try to arrange. How to revise? Um, so for revision, make sure that the revision has to be performed very actively. Revision doesn't mean that I have to take notes or and all again and again. Okay, note making wouldn't help you, at least in this leg of preparation. So what will help you is you sit down with the topic and you try to recall as much as possible as you can. It could breach the limits of the subject. You could be linking it with something like polity, something like anything which you are able to recall. Okay, so try to perform this active recall technique. It actually helps a lot. It's research backed. Thank you, Utkarsh. We understand that the situation, this particular phase could be depressive. It could give you a lot of anxiety. We understand that, but it's completely normal. I'll tell you this thing, it's completely normal. Most of us face this, many of them face this. So just take care of these three things that I have told you. In your preparation, prioritize what you have to read, revise it n number of time, and ensure that you're executing that in the examination. You might encounter a lot of questions that you have never heard of in the paper. But if you are confident that you have secured good space in these places, in these areas, then be assured that you are actually in that 80% league. So you are one among the best competitors. So just try to focus, revise as much as you can over here, invest time over here, try to develop your confidence. Don't indulge into something that can make you depressive, that can bog you down. Create a kind of positive environment around you, and this is going to help you a lot. Okay, and it's completely fine to feel bogged down during this time. I honestly believe you all are such positive people. You're giving such a positive energy. Just ensure the basic things, that you are implementing the pre-technique, which is, what is the pre-technique? That we are prioritizing what topic to read, we are revising it enough number of times, and end of the day we are executing it, and that comes from a mindset which is a confident mindset. All right, so I think this was all about the session. Thank you so much. You've been a great audience. uh, Please don't forget to enjoy the process. This is probably one of the best times of your life. You are investing in such a good examination. You are learning a lot of things for yourself, and we at Vajiram, we wish you all the very best for the upcoming prelims examination. We hope you excel with flying colors. So thank you so much, and I'll take a leave now.
Okay. There's so much of energy in the room, and I think this was an amazing session. You guys are proving it. The constant audience had made it clear. Now, you must have got it that only practice, and practice will make sure that you qualify this examination. And don't you worry, we got you covered, because you don't have to choose the questions to practice by yourself. Okay? So, our ongoing test series will be helping you to practice in the best way possible. Our ongoing pulling class test series, which will be having 21 tests in total, having 10 full length tests, and 6 current affairs based tests, 5 CSET based tests, That too coming with an all India ranking and AI based performance evaluation, that your whole evaluation, you'll be getting a rank after that. Okay, this will be available in online mode also, so you can enroll in this test series and make sure that you practice enough before your prelims and you are confident enough to attend the examination. We'll be back with another such sessions, but till then, keep studying and wish you all the very best for this prelims 2024. I wish you excel this examination. Thank you so much.